In an attempt to take down Xiaomi's Redmi Note 5, the sub-brand of Oppo, named as Realme, launched its first smartphone in the Indian market, dubbed as Realme 1, with some impressive specifications on board. The Realme 1 comes under the value for money segment, and today we're going to compare the Realme 1 with its arch-rival, the Redmi Note 5, to find out which one wins the competition. Now, talking about design, the Realme 1 is surprisingly refreshing, with a glossy back and symmetrical design that makes the phone look like a diamond, with each angle reflecting and shining different black colors. There are 15 tangent planes carved onto the black body, and each plane has a different color. These colors differ as for the density and as the dip angle changes. There's a glossy rim running on the sides that houses the interactive elements of the phone. Talking about the build, the Realme 1 feels solid in the hand, and it definitely looks premium too. It offers a good grip, but it attracts fingerprints on the back and is a bit slippery as well. Having said that, the problem can be solved if you use a back case which is provided in the box. Now, the device measures 7.8 mm in thickness and it weighs around 158 grams. On the other hand, the Redmi Note 5 more or less carries the same design as the Note 4, but this time around it has an 18:9 aspect ratio. There's a 2.5D curved glass screen with gently rounded corners as the differentiating factor. The phone is 8.05 mm thick and it weighs around 180 grams. Even though the phone has a large screen, it is compact to hold. In fact, it has a screen to body ratio of about 77%. Similar to the predecessor, it has a metallic finish at the back, whereas the top and the bottom parts are finished in plastic to assist the antenna performance. The build quality of both the smartphones is pretty good, but when it comes to design, the rear panel of the Realme 1 is definitely a step above the Redmi Note 5. Now, talking about the display, the Realme 1 sports a 6-inch Full HD Plus IPS panel with 1.98 mm slim bezels on the sides and an 84.8% screen to body ratio. It has a pixel density of about 402 ppi. The display is bright, text looks sharp, the color reproduction is on point and the viewing angles are good too. The display is perfectly readable under sunlight conditions and other outdoor scenarios as well. The device offers screen color temperature adjustments including the default, warm and cold. On the other hand, the Redmi Note 5 has a 5.99-inch Full HD Plus panel with a pixel resolution of 2160 by 1080 pixels. Then this results in a pixel density of about 403 ppi, which is pretty much the same as the Realme 1. The display is bright thanks to 450 nits of brightness and it has 1000:1 contrast ratio. Sunlight legibility is good too, since it has a sunlight readable display that uses a hardware level technology to adjust the contrast of each pixel in real time, and the images are less affected by glare. Moving on to the battery, the Realme 1 is powered by a 3410 mAh battery that uses AI battery management and learns your patterns and habits over time. The phone can snooze or close your inactive apps to save power. In fact, the battery life was absolutely fantastic and it got us throughout the day on a single charge even with heavy use. At the end of the day, with casual usage, we still had about 30% charge remaining. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 5 on the other hand is powered by a 3900 mAh battery, but it doesn't have any fast charging technology. The battery life is good, it easily lasts a full day with heavy use, and in this department, both the phones perform equally well, even though the battery capacity is slightly higher on the Redmi Note 5. In terms of performance, the Realme 1 is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio P60 processor with a Mali G72 MP3 GPU. In day-to-day use, the device did not skip a beat and we haven't seen any stutter, hang or lag at all. It processes everything regardless of what you throw at it thanks to the 6GB of RAM in the higher end variant. We did some intense gaming on the phone and we found no problem at all since most games like PUBG were smooth and the graphics were great as well. Redmi Note 5 on the other hand is powered by an octa-core Snapdragon 625 chipset and has 3GB or 4GB of RAM depending on the SKU. The performance is once again good without any lags, but the company could have gotten with a slightly faster processor, and you do get that in the Pro variant of the Redmi Note 5. The phone heats up slightly on intensive gaming and 4G data use, but it's never too hot to handle. But in this department, the Helio P60 processor is definitely faster than the Snapdragon chipset on the Redmi Note 5, making the Realme 1 the clear winner. Now, talking about the software on board, neither of the phones run a stock build of Android. Realme 1 ships with ColorOS 5.0, which is built on Android 8.1. It comes with tons of customization options including quiet time, customizable navigation keys, gestures, assistive ball and other security features. There's a clone apps feature as well, which when turned on creates a duplicate version of the app that you choose. Moreover, there's a separate toggle for split screen, which when enabled allows you to swipe up with 3 fingers to enter the split screen mode. The Redmi Note 5 on the other hand ships with the regular old MIUI 9, which is built on top of Android 7.1.2, which is quite old now. MIUI 9 adds a lot of features including improved notifications, split screen, improved apps like Mi Drop to transfer files between 2 devices. It also has a new app vault feature that shows shortcuts to access apps quickly when you swipe left in the home screen. There's also the app lock feature, which lets you protect your apps with a password, and the dual apps feature, which lets you run 2 versions of the same app like WhatsApp. In the end, UI is a subjective topic, but with the latest Android version and some customization on top, the Realme One does seem to have a bit of an edge over the Redmi Note 5. Now, one of the major aspects of smartphones these days is the camera capabilities. The Realme One ships with a 13 megapixel rear camera with an aperture of f2.2, accompanied with an LED flash of course. The front of the device has an 8 megapixel camera, once again with an f2.2 aperture. Talking about real world use, the daylight pictures come out really well with a good amount of details, and so do the macro shots. The camera is quick to focus on the object thanks to laser autofocus. The 8 megapixel front camera produces some good images too. Most of the images turned out to be quite good in both daylight and low light conditions. It also has an AI beauty feature that intelligently provides the most suitable beautification for users. The Redmi Note 5 has a 12 megapixel rear camera, once again with an f2.2 aperture and an LED flash. There's a 5 megapixel front facing camera with an f2.0 aperture and a selfie flash. Now, talking about the image quality, daylight shots are good in bright conditions, but some images seem a little dull. HDR shots are better and the macro shots are good as well. In low light, there's a lot of noise in the image even when the LED flash is on. Generally speaking, the Realme takes slightly better shots than the Redmi Note 5. Now, talking about connectivity and storage, both the smartphones support connectivity options including 4G VoLTE, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2 and GPS. The Realme One has a dedicated dual SIM and microSD card slot with dual VoLTE support that lets you use 4G and VoLTE on both the SIMs and switch between them easily. This definitely puts the Realme One ahead. The Realme One ships in 3 different variants: 3GB RAM with 32GB of storage, 4GB RAM with 64GB of storage, and 6GB of RAM with 128GB of storage that can also be expanded via the microSD card slot. The Redmi Note 5 on the other hand ships with 3GB of RAM with 32GB of storage and 4GB of RAM with 64GB of storage. It does have an expandable memory slot which lets you push it up to 128GB via the microSD card. However, you cannot use 2 SIMs and a microSD card at the same time. As expected, the Realme One stays slightly ahead of the competition at a lower price, and definitely it does win against the Redmi Note 5. The Realme One is a new smartphone under the budget to mid-range segment that is offering a number of strong features. Under Rs 10,000, it is definitely one of the better options available in the market and is well worth a look. This video was brought in collaboration with Realme. Thanks for watching.